Hey everybody, Don here again. Well, I'm back in the kitchen, and you know, I just harvested a really nice deer down in Missouri. And while I was on vacation, I cut that thing all up and packaged it, and you know, I made steaks, stew meat, sausage. I think I might do a video on the sausage, burger. One thing I tried that I have never done before was made venison jerky. I know, hard to believe I haven't made venison jerky. And it came out great. I did two separate jerky recipes though. One of them was this High Mountain Seasonings dry jerky cure that my buddy CJ gave me. The other one was a concoction of my own that I kind of came up with, you know, on looking at some YouTube videos and then a few things I wanted to add to it. So came out really, really good. I really wanted to do a video, but my cameraman, me, really messed up and the footage was terrible. So I'm going to do another batch. Now, I posted that thumbnail that was going to go up with that video, and it sparked a conversation with my niece, Bevan, who I don't have nearly enough conversations with. And so this video is dedicated to my niece, Bevan, who is absolutely my favorite niece on the Paget side of the family. Even if she wasn't my only niece on the Paget side of the family, she'd be my favorite. So this video is for you, Bevan. So because I used pretty much all my meat up on the last video, I took this tip roast out of the freezer. I'm going to slice it up. It's still partially frozen, which I don't have a slicer. So that's really the best way to do it, is to get it when it's still partially frozen. And you can see that's nice and it's still pretty firm. So I should be able to get fairly even cuts. Just about that thick, about 1/4 of an inch thick. And because it's partially frozen, it doesn't flex so much, and you end up with a nice even cut. All right, so what I did was I sliced that roast into about 1/4 inch strips, and then I slit those in half, and here's what I ended up with: about a pound a piece. And I'm going to do two different recipes. So I'll start with the jerky cure from High Mountain Seasonings. And basically the directions say, so you have the seasoning, and this is the hickory flavor, which is wicked good. And then you have the curing portion of it. And so for a pound of meat, 1.5 teaspoons of the spice, to 1 teaspoon of the cure. It's pretty amazing what this does to the meat over the course of the night. And then you mix that up. So it doesn't look like a whole lot, right? I mean, I only have a pound of meat, but you mix that all up good. And I'm going to sprinkle it on. I'm going to spread this meat out on a pan. I'm just going to sprinkle it on. The only thing I wish they did a little differently, I wish the holes on this shaker they provide you with were a little bit smaller. All right. Now I'm just going to put it in this container. Everything's got a pretty good dose on. And this needs to sit in the fridge for 24 hours. All right, now let's make my homemade brine. I'm going to start off with, we'll see if it covers it. If it doesn't, I'll make more. Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to put 1/2 cup of Worcestershire sauce. The next one I used was a low sodium soy sauce. And I'll go with a little bit over a half a cup of that as well, just to make it even with the Worcestershire sauce. I think there's going to be more than enough to cover everything. I'm going to use a teaspoon of liquid smoke. Whoop, well, came a little bit more. And then what I used in the first batch, this is going to be more of a sweet and spicy. So I used a little bit over a half a cup of brown sugar. So I'm going to use a little less than that this time around. Quarter of a cup of brown sugar. And then I used about a teaspoon of cayenne. And then what I used was the Spicier by Uncle Steve's Shakes. And I used a good amount of that, probably a teaspoon. But to make it a little sweeter, this is the Sweet and Spicier by Uncle Steve's Shakes. And if I recall, this one was a little bit hardened. So we use about a teaspoon, a little bit over a teaspoon of that. Now let's mix this up and see what it looks like. It might be a little bit thick. I think this will be enough to cover all the meat. So now I'm going to take the concoction that I just made with the soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, liquid smoke, cayenne pepper, and a couple of different Uncle Steve's Shakes. Put a little bit of that in the bottom of here, and then I'm going to start laying the strips of meat in there. I want everything to get covered really good. And then I'm going to put this in the refrigerator along with the other one, and I'm going to let it sit overnight, and it's going to turn to a beautiful dark color. It's pretty beautiful right now. This red, I love the color of venison. Just such a rich red meat. So lean and healthy. All right. And then I'm just going to pour the rest of this right over the top. So my meat is all covered. Tuck it away in the fridge. Tomorrow night, we'll be cooking it in the oven. I'll show you that when we come back. So this is the meat that was done with the dry cure from High Mountain Seasonings. Now what I did last time is that I took these strips and I stuck each one of them on a toothpick, like so, and then I hung them on the rack in the oven. But what I found as I was checking them, I had about 30 or 40 strips of meat hanging from a toothpick, and as I would open that up, they'd kind of wiggle, and eventually they started to fall. So I'm going to do a little different this time. This time I'm going to use one of these bigger skewers, and I'll put 4 or 5 pieces on that, stretched out by the width of the rack in the oven. And I'll see that I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces on each one of these skewers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke it through here. I'm going to space these out fairly evenly. And then I'll stick it in the oven and just see how they're spread out. Unfortunately, I don't have as much meat this time around as I had the first time around, but so there you go. Now, the nice thing about this is when I do go to check it, they're not going to fall. So that's the first one. Now to the marinated. What I'm going to do with the marinated ones, I'm going to put them on a paper plate with a towel just to get the juice off of them. It's been in there. They've been soaking it up for 24 hours. So let's do that. Then I'll do the same thing. I'll slide them on this skewer. Try to space them out fairly evenly. And in the oven they go on the other side. All right, so there you can see what I got. I've got 13 pieces of each. And in the oven they go. None of them touching the metal. We'll come back in 5 hours. We'll check them in 4, see how they look. Like I said, the oven's set at 170 degrees, which is as low as my oven will go. I'm also, I forgot to tell you this, I'm putting it on convection so that it circulates the air, kind of like a dehydrator circulates the air over the racks. Putting this on convection will have the same effect. So now it's just a waiting game. I almost forgot I was making a video, and I pulled half of it out of the oven and vacuum packed it already. So let me show you what else I got. It's been 4 hours. And you can see the stuff is good and dried up. I ate a couple pieces. Yeah, so it came out really good. I mean, you can look at it. You can see it's nice and dried. This is the one with the High Mountain Seasonings DryCure. I already packaged up the marinated one I made. I'm sending some of this to my niece, and so I can get that ready to go. Thanks for watching. Sorry it's kind of a cluster here at the end, but we'll see you next time. Peace.